Okay, so NIO is up almost 10% today, so we need to talk about why this might be the case. And also I have a couple of more stocks or, well, market actions where I think it could be really interesting in the next couple of days and weeks. So watch it till the very end. Please remember to smash a like button. And for all of the Dutch fans watching this channel, I'm sorry to see you guys leaving the tournament. Anyways, let's get on with it. So a couple of important things happened today. So once again, you see here this big blue line, which is basically the long-term uptrend, which by today we smashed through it once again. So that's really important as well. In the last couple of weeks, we never really managed to, well, consolidate above this long-term uptrend. So here's another chance, and this time with a bigger breakout. But what you can also see here is that we are having a major resistance here around $49 and roughly, let's say, 70 cents. I doubt that today by the market close we will go beyond that and open the 50s. So it's quite possible that we will get rejected here once again and possibly not in the first place bounce off the support line again, but even go lower here once again and finding more support. But then what's interesting here coming up is this wedge pattern here with this yellow line and the bullish blue line support. So if we manage to start trading within this wedge, then at some point this may cause a bigger breakout, and then finally staying within this fib range between the $50 and the all-time highs around $65. But as always, this is just like how it looks on the technicals and on the chart. What happened today, I think, are a couple of reasons. First of all, a revised report by Deutsche Bank about the market estimations. I'm gonna look at that one. And second of all, a sharp reversal in the yields of the 10-year government bonds. And all of this is, of course, good for the tech stocks in general. And I've mentioned in my last videos that I think that possibly Cathie Wood was right again, that we might see now a rotation actually starting to happen back from value stocks into tech stocks in general. And so in this video, I also have a couple more ideas regarding that. So I think that actually the reversal in the bond yields has the highest impact because NIO is obviously a growth stock with high uncertainty that has sold off massively during the tech rotation just because of these reasons. But now we also have something that may have fueled this run as well. Deutsche Bank raises the sales forecast for China by 2025 for the EVs. So here's the important stuff. For this year, they raised their estimates from 2 million units to actually 2.5 million units being sold of all electric cars, fully electric cars. And on the longer term, they raised their targets from 6.6 million to 8.3 million units. And it's cool to see that they changed their guidance to the upwards here, because I just recently talked also about my own personal estimations here on the channel. And now this is actually getting closer now. So just as a reminder, my numbers are around 2.3 million electric cars by 2021, but I mentioned that, I see numbers up to 2.7 million, so these are conservative numbers. And for 2025, my numbers are actually more optimistic here, more than 11.6 million electric cars being sold, and roughly a 40% EV penetration, when the Deutsche Bank forecast here is now up to 8.3 million units. So still not as much as I am planning with, and 35% of EV penetration. But this is now one more of the bullish analyst calls and estimations here, I would say. So yeah, that's good to see. And I think that this could have fueled the large increase today by the Chinese EV players in the markets. So with that, congratulations for everyone who is a NIO shareholder and managed to hold through the 30s and the 40s. I know it's been a really rough time during the tech sell-off, and it's mind-boggling to see that today we're adding around $4 per share, because that's actually more than my average cost per share that I've paid for NIO initially more than 1 year ago. And looking back at my video here that I made, would now be the time to invest in NIO stock. That was by the end of March, and NIO was trading below $3 a share. I remember well that there was lots of uncertainty and it was really hard to kind of stick to this investment thesis. and it's most likely gonna stay like this, very volatile. Most of my investments are like this, so nothing on this channel is financial advice. I can only share with you what kind of opportunities I see and where I do my due diligence. So here are some more opportunities and ideas that I can share today, and the first one is SEB Health. So sorry again for this messy chart here, but what you can see here, once again, I mentioned this before, is the seasonality pattern where we have spikes during summer, like July, possibly this time again, and during the winter month in January and February, this area, and usually lows in October and May. So this is a pattern that, well, it's obvious here on the chart. And then what I've noticed now, if I go to the weekly chart here, is, and I highlighted this with the yellow lines here, is that usually we have this build up from the lows. That is, lots of green weekly candles here, and you can see that beautifully happening right now as well. And then once we hit around the $11.70, which we are now, we can oftentimes see much larger green candles following here. So we had that back in January 2019, once again January 2020, and here once again in June 2020. And so there might be a big breakout coming to SEB again if this July spike is going to happen again. Could well go quickly beyond $14.50 and might be followed by a rapid sell-off once again, and usually then we would see that the $11 roundabout would be a strong support again. So I'm expecting that it would have a sharp rise and then a quick sell-off again before we possibly see another rise into the winter months. And this is all just based by what I can see on the chart. So this is the seasonality pattern. I have no idea whether this is going to happen or not, but we're now at these levels where these big spikes are imminent. So that could be around a 25% of increase in just a couple of weeks, basically, maybe based not on company news, although there are some interesting company news which I've just posted into the Dongxi Patreon community. Another interesting speculative trade could be EHang, ticker symbol EH, and haven't covered the company so far on this channel. I don't have a position in this company, and I'm actually not looking to invest in this company anyways. But what's interesting is that the company has 25.5% of a short float. So really big parts of the float is being short on this company. And now the chart is looking quite good on this company, and it's also a very volatile play. And now we may have a rotation back into tech and growth stocks. So that may actually fuel a short squeeze here. And that would mean that we would see a rapid increase also in the share price for EHang here. And well, this is super speculative. I'm personally possibly not gonna bet on that, but that's just what I'm seeing out there. So in case that you are interested in opportunities like that, that might be a way to squeeze some shorts. And then last but not least, the next opportunity that I'm seeing is actually in Bitcoin or crypto more in general. I'm calling kind of a bottom here, although I think we might see another dip even below 30K for just a tiny trading day maybe, just because Bitcoin is so volatile. I am quite certain that it will actually hold these levels here, and then I think we should actually see an up to 30 to 45% increase in the next couple of weeks. Because similar to the chart with NIO, I think that Bitcoin may actually want to go and revisit this long-term uptrend line here. So that's the yellow line, and that would mean a Bitcoin above $40,000. We already see a big recovery in Ethereum. I think Ethereum also may want to go back to these levels. So that would be more than $2,600 for Ethereum. And the reasons for that is also well covered on this channel. I think we had a deleveraging in the crypto space, and now also with the FUD around China, which I think is a nonsense issue, and also now the migration of the Chinese miners overseas, What I think is that we will see a reversal of the hash rate in some point in time, and then Bitcoin will be the leader possibly here. Ethereum may follow that movement. So I think that yes, the crypto winter might be over there, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a Bitcoin closer to 100,000 US dollars by the end of this year or going into next year. That's just my personal opinion. That's nowhere near investment advice, just how I'm currently seeing the markets there. And so, as I have mentioned before, I try to have just a tiny view on positions. Most of them are quite speculative in nature. Most of them are quite volatile, so can have minus 50% drawdowns and so on. But on the upside, they usually also have a higher spike and volatility. And then, of course, those bigger price movements also should result in higher yields and gains by the end. So anyways, these are the updates for today. Once again, congratulations at NIO long-term shareholders. I think this is just the beginning for what's to come in the next couple of years. I mentioned a couple of times that I think Q3 and Q4 will be good for automotive in general, but also for, of course, Tesla and NIO. Speaking of Tesla, they also had a sharp recovery now. I mentioned before that I think Tesla should actually follow NIO and the Chinese EV names there and recover a little bit more now. And I think now we also need to go above this long-term uptrend here once again, but there is a major resistance around the 700 US dollars. But in case that we see the macros changing sustainably towards technology stocks and growth stocks once again, just as called by Cathie Wood, then I think we will see Tesla above 700 US dollars again. And the reason and catalyst for that may actually be the run into the Q2 earnings, where I think that Tesla actually may surprise on the numbers in terms of deliveries. And particularly, I'm not so worried about what has been going on in China all of the time. So that's just my guess. I could be wrong on that. Anyways, that's it for now. Thank you guys for watching and see you on the next one.